Long before kings ruled Israel, there was a man unlike any other, a man chosen by God, blessed with power beyond imagination. They called him Samson. His strength shook nations. His hands crushed lions. His name struck fear into the hearts of his enemies. But behind the power was a struggle. Behind the victories was weakness. And behind the man was a vow, a promise between him and God. This is not just a tale of strength. It's a story of temptation, of failure, and of redemption. A journey that proves one eternal truth. Even when a man falls, God's mercy can lift him again. This is the story of Samson, the strongest man who ever lived, and the God who never gave up on him. Long before Samson was born, the land of Israel was under the heavy hand of the Philistines. The people cried out to God, tired of living in fear and defeat. In a small town called Zorah, there lived a man named Manoah and his wife. They had no children. Their home was quiet. Too quiet. One day the silence was broken by something divine. An angel of the Lord appeared to the woman. His presence shone with heavenly light. "You will have a son," the angel said. "He will begin to deliver Israel from the Philistines. But listen carefully. This child must be set apart for God from birth.
No razor must touch his hair. He must never drink wine or eat anything unclean. He is to be a Nazirite, dedicated to God's service."
The woman trembled with awe and ran to tell her husband. Manoah prayed earnestly, "Lord, let the man of God come again and teach us how to raise this child you have promised."
"O Lord, let the man of God you sent to us come again."
And God listened. The angel came again. Manoah and his wife fell before him, asking, "What should we do for the boy?" The angel repeated the instructions and reminded them that the child's life would belong to God. So Manoah prepared an offering, and as the flames rose to heaven, the angel rose in the fire and disappeared. Manoah fell to his face, trembling. They knew this was no ordinary promise. In time, the promise came true. A baby was born. They named him Samson.
"We will call him Samson."
The boy grew. The Lord blessed him, and the Spirit of God began to stir inside him. His hair grew long, 7 thick locks, a quiet sign of a loud promise. His strength was more than muscle. It was the power of God living in him, given for a purpose, to stand against the Philistines and protect Israel. One day, Samson went down to a Philistine town called Timnah. There he saw a young woman and wanted to marry her. But she was a Philistine, not one of his people. His parents tried to warn him. "Isn't there a woman among our own people?" they asked. But Samson said, "Get her for me. She is right in my eyes."
"Must have her, father. She pleases me."
"Samson, listen to your mother and me. There are women among our own people."
Why must it be them?
What Samson didn't know was that God would use even his wrong desires to stir conflict with the Philistines. God can turn even a crooked path into his purpose, though it's always better to walk the straight one. As Samson and his parents traveled toward Timnah, a young lion came roaring toward him. In that moment of danger, the Spirit of the Lord came upon Samson with power. He grabbed the lion with his bare hands and tore it apart. He didn't tell his parents what happened. Later, on another trip, he passed the same spot. Inside the lion's dead body, bees had made a hive, and there was honey. Samson scooped some, ate it, and even gave some to his parents. But he didn't tell them where it came from. He had touched a dead body. He was already starting to take his vow lightly. When the wedding feast came, 30 Philistine men surrounded Samson as his companions. Samson, always clever, said,
Let me tell you a riddle. If you solve it before the feast ends, I'll give you 30 sets of clothes. But if you can't, you will give them to me.
They agreed. And Samson said,
Out of the eater came something to eat, and out of the strong came something sweet.
Of the strong came something sweet. What does he mean?
A lion! How can a lion be sweet?
It makes no sense. We are running out of time.
Days passed, but the Philistines couldn't solve it. They pressured Samson's bride. Make your husband tell you, they threatened, or we'll burn you and your father's house. She cried, she begged, day after day.
How can you say you love me when you won't even tell me the answer to your riddle?
Finally, Samson told her,
Since you insist, I will tell you.
What is sweeter than honey? What is stronger than a lion?
and she told the men. On the last day they came with smug smiles.
What is sweeter than honey? What is stronger than a lion?
Samson's eyes burned with anger. He knew they had forced the truth from his wife. Their deceit will cost them, he said. God's Spirit came on him again. He went to the city of Ashkelon, struck down 30 men. Took their clothes and paid his riddle debt. Then he left the feast and went home in fury. In his absence, the bride's father gave her to another man. Later, Samson returned with a gift for his bride, a young goat. But her father met him at the door and said,
I swear I thought you hated her. How was I to know? I gave her to your companion because I thought that's what you wanted.
Take her younger sister instead. Samson's anger blazed. This time, he said,
This time I will be blameless when I harm the Philistines.
He caught 300 foxes, tied them in pairs by their tails, fixed a burning torch between each pair, and set them loose in the Philistine fields. Grain, vineyards, olive groves, all burned. The Philistines asked, Who did this? They were told, Samson, because his wife was given away. In revenge, the Philistines burned the woman and her father. The story turns dark here. Hatred destroys. Innocent people suffer when anger runs wild. Samson struck back again and defeated many Philistines.
I will not rest until I repay them.
Then he went to live in a cave at the rock of Etam. The Philistines gathered an army to seize him. The men of Judah, afraid, came to Samson, 3,000 of them. Do you not know the Philistines rule over us? They said. What have you done to us? Samson replied, I only did to them what they did to me. They said, We have come to bind you and hand you over. He answered, Swear to me that you will not kill me yourselves. They promised. They tied him with new ropes and brought him up from the rock. When the Philistines saw him, they shouted. Then the Spirit of God came mightily upon Samson. The ropes snapped like burned flax. Samson grabbed the jawbone of a donkey nearby, and with it, he struck down 1,000 men. When it was over, he was exhausted. He cried out to God,
"O Lord, you have given me this great victory fain, and now must I die of thirst?"
"You have given me this victory. Will I now die of thirst?" And God opened a hollow place, and water flowed. Samson drank and was revived. He named it En-Hakkore, the caller's spring. Samson judged Israel for 20 years, but Samson still walked close to danger. One night, he went to Gaza, a strong Philistine city. When the people heard he was there, they shut the city gates, planning to kill him at dawn.
Something doesn't feel right at all. I can feel something is up against me.
At midnight, Samson woke up. He walked to the gates, pulled them up, doors, posts, and bars, placed them on his shoulders, and carried them to the top of a hill near Hebron. God's strength was still with him, but his heart was still unguarded. Then came Delilah. Samson loved her, but love without wisdom can become a trap. The rulers of the Philistines came to her. "Find out where his strength lies," they said. "Each of us will pay you 1,100 pieces of silver." Delilah agreed. She asked Samson,
Tell me the secret of your great strength, though. How could anyone tie up you and make you weak?
Samson lied.
If I am tied with 7 fresh bowstrings that have not been dried, I will become as weak as any man.
That night, while men hid in the room, Delilah tied him. "Samson, the Philistines are upon you," she cried. He snapped the bowstrings easily. His secret remained. Again, she asked. Again, he lied. "Use new ropes," he said. She did, and he broke free again. She nagged day after day. Her words wore him down.
How can you say you love me when your heart is not with me? You have mocked me 3 times.
Finally, Samson told her the truth.
A razor has never touched my head, for I have been a Nazirite to God from my mother's womb. If I am shaved, my strength will leave me, and I shall become weak like any other man.
Delilah knew this time it was true. She called for the rulers. They came with silver in hand. Delilah lulled Samson to sleep on her lap. A man quietly entered and shaved off the 7 locks of his hair. His strength left him. "Samson, the Philistines are upon you," Delilah cried. He woke up and said, "I'll go out as before." But he did not know that the Lord had left him. They seized him. They gouged out his eyes. They bound him in bronze chains and made him grind grain in prison. The mighty warrior became a blind slave. But his hair began to grow again. Time passed. The Philistines held a great festival to honor their false god, Dagon. They said, "Our God has delivered Samson, our enemy, into our hands." They brought Samson out to entertain them. The hall was crowded with rulers and citizens, about 3,000 on the roof alone. A young servant led the blind man by the hand. Samson said, "Let me feel the pillars that support the temple, that I may lean on them." He stood between the 2 great pillars, and then he prayed,
Sovereign Lord, remember me. Please strengthen me once more, that I may avenge my eyes.
He placed one hand on each pillar. He braced himself, and with a cry that shook the hall, he said, "Let me die with the Philistines." He pushed with all his might, and the pillars broke. The temple fell. The rulers and all the people inside died.
We have to get out of here!
Samson died too, but in his death, He defeated more enemies than he ever had in his life. Later, his family came and took his body. They buried him between Zorah and Eshtaol in the tomb of Manoah, his father. Samson judged Israel for 20 years. And that is the story of Samson, the strongest man who forgot his strength. It is a story of power and weakness, of calling and compromise, of mercy that never completely lets go. Samson was chosen before birth. God's Spirit gave him strength. But Samson lived by what he saw, not by what he knew was right. He treated holy things lightly. He played with sin and lost his sight, both physical and spiritual. Yet even in blindness, when he finally prayed with a broken heart, God heard him. If you are listening as a leader or parent, remember, strength without wisdom is dangerous. Gifts without obedience can destroy. If you are listening as a child, be careful with your promises. Stay away from traps that look exciting. When you're hurt, talk to God before you act. God can use even a flawed person to do His work, but His best is found in those who walk faithfully. Samson's story is not a fairy tale. It's truth about sin, mercy, and the God who gives second chances. The lesson echoing through time, true strength, is not in the body. It is in the heart that remembers God. What lesson did you learn from Samson's story? Let us know in the comments section. We love hearing your thoughts. And if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this story with your loved ones, so that together we can keep bringing the Word of God to life through storytelling.